there are long-term effects when we do crystal meth and things that can really affect the neurotransmitters in our brain.
Nick, I let you suck my dick. Okay? Fine, I said. I let Nick suck my dick. And I liked it. It was okay. Fine. Nick, you suck my dick.
Orlando Brown is headed to jail unless he pleads insanity, which might actually work out for him. This former child star has been on a rampage. Orlando claims that he's exposing the evils in Hollywood and that there are people being human trafficked within the industry. Maybe Orlando Brown is right, but it doesn't help that he's on crystal meth. So let's get into it. We need to talk about Orlando Brown. If you guys don't know who Orlando is, you may recognize him from some of your favorite childhood shows, like the show That's So Raven. But ever since being a child star, Orlando has struggled. So today we're going to talk about what he says about Hollywood and what could be going on here. So it actually looks like Orlando was back to work with acting, but he had a domestic violence situation which has cost him the role. Orlando Brown is losing a movie role because of his domestic violence arrest, a role that the alleged victim actually got him. The former Disney star was arrested Thursday for misdemeanor domestic violence after cops in Ohio, why Ohio? Responded to a call about a fight in progress between two men. Matthew Sanders is the alleged victim and tells TMZ he's directing and producing a movie called Up the Score and wanted Orlando to be a part of it because he considers Orlando Brown not only a friend but extremely talented. Orlando's legal issues have been well documented over the years, and Matthew says Orlando had been living at his home in Ohio since November for pre-production of the movie. We're told there were no major issues until Thursday's incident. Matthew told cops Orlando came at him with a broken knife blade and a hammer. Matthew believes Orlando is struggling with a mental illness. He thinks Orlando is at times out of touch with reality, and he's bummed he wasn't able to help Orlando make a movie comeback. But there are some fans who question this situation entirely because maybe Matthew is part of this Hollywood machine that Orlando keeps talking about, because he does a bunch of interviews where he shares some disturbing things about how Hollywood works. For example, in one interview, he claimed that Chris Brown was cloned and that this clone was out there performing as him.
And it was revealed that they paid $1,000 for a meet and greet with Chris Brown. Some people were surprised at this, and there was some debate as to, whether people felt it was worth it or, is that a little too much?
He's the real Chris Brown, and he's not allowed to get on stage. That's the only way he can make his money.
So you feel like that was like a lookalike that did that?
Do I feel like it was a lookalike in Chris Brown's body?
Okay.
No, Chris Brown is not that. It's just the same. It's the same thing with Kanye, bro. Chris Brown, that was not Chris Brown on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Chris Brown on stage, bro. That's not Chris.
So that wasn't Chris that did that?
Hell no, that wasn't Chris. No, that wasn't Chris that was on stage. Chris Brown is the one he getting paid any way he can to see if it's gonna go over, and it's going over well. Don't nobody know the difference.
So there's a lot to take away from there, and I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to say. Like, was Chris Brown's body taken and then someone else's mind was put into it? It kind of reminds me of that one movie, I think Get Out, but who knows? I mean, Orlando Brown claims that he's been set up multiple times.
Being free after being locked behind bars for no reason and being set up, I can't dedicate another 90 days of being monitored all my life.
So maybe Orlando is being set up, but when it comes to this latest domestic violence situation, it looks like there's a chance he may plead insanity, which I guess could work for him. So he's currently getting a mental evaluation, and that's the latest news. The That's So Raven star Orlando Brown is getting his head checked to see if he's fit to stand trial in Ohio, opening the door to a possible plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. According to legal documents, it looks like Orlando's attorney is asking for a mental evaluation to see if the disgraced actor is mentally fit. And honestly, that might be a great attorney, because that might be the best way for Orlando to get out of this. If he pleads insanity, then the charges will probably be a lot less. He can go to a mental health facility and seek help. But if he's pleading insanity, what does that mean about everything else he said about Hollywood and the elites and the evil side of it? Because Orlando has done a ton of interviews making some really damning claims.
I'll give you this. You can willingly turn woman and have a bag, or you can do what I'm doing. You can willingly turn trans, or you can get in trouble and go to jail and get up, and they do it to you forcefully because you up and you didn't know what to do with your blessing. So out of those two ways, me sitting here in one piece is not easy. It's not easy at all. You have to be respectful. Like, can't be just like, oh yeah, you think I'm sitting here playing with people's lives and these wives and bro and kids. Yeah, what they did to me was up. So I have the right to say whatever I want to say because they never thought I'd be able to say it. Okay, but when it comes down to just this industry and how people are willingly turning trans, turning female rapper just to get the bag, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I will touch.
I would be lying to you guys if I wasn't a little bit lost, but it sounds like he's trying to push a narrative that there's like this control in Hollywood that forces you to become something else, whether you want to or not, to gain fame and fortune. I'm not entirely sure which like trans people he's trying to refer to, but it does seem a little bit transphobic. There are also other things that he has spoken about, like panda eyes, which if you guys don't know what panda eyes is, it's pretty much some like symptom of PTSD, or when you've done something extremely bad, like Aries Spears, for example. He looks like he has panda eyes, so I'll put a picture up here on the screen. But let's go ahead and hear what he has to say about this. There are some words that are censored from this, as they should be, so just try to piece it together.
When you see black eyes like Blueface and shit like that, he got beat up, but he didn't get beat up where you thought he got beat up. He got beat up somewhere else. Okay, and so the eyes come out, and they call them panda eyes, and they do this to. So you see people with these cigars, and they're all these big celebrities. They all have the cigar in common. That's that big ass thing between their legs that they're sticking in, and it's one big society of it. Now, when it comes down to the selling of the, they're shipping and trafficking. And people, adults, the moms, the dads, right there on Target commercials, right there on Walmart commercials. And you're looking at the people that are missing, and they're smiling like they're happy, but they're going back to hell. And that's really what it is. These are actually adults. Jeffrey Epstein created this saga, and this is what he is great at doing.
So what Orlando is saying there is that there are some cases where, I guess, like, Hollywood or the Illuminati is like trafficking people through like Target commercials and Walmart commercials and things like this, which actually I want to briefly acknowledge that my logo is not in support of the Illuminati. Some people are confused by it. There's a magnifying glass on top of it, which is supposed to signify me uncovering these things, kind of like what Orlando is attempting to do here. But then some people are just calling him, insane, or saying that he has a drug problem. It does look like Orlando has drug issues, and he's been arrested before time and time again for possession of drugs, which I wonder what he had gone through as a child, as a child star for Disney, that has caused him to have so many issues that he's constantly coping with drugs. He was arrested in Vegas for a felony charge of narcotics possession. It also looked like he resisted arrest and obstructed a public officer. He was also caught with drug paraphernalia, so the stuff to use the drugs. A spokesperson for the police told the news that Orlando was stopped by police as he was seen getting out of a cab, going to a nearby motel, and then returning to the car moments later. So maybe he went to go get something, get the goods, and then he came back to the car and they caught him. Upon arrest, authorities said that they discovered what appeared to be meth and a pipe in his possession. In Orlando's mugshot, his massive chest tattoo tattoo of former co-star Raven-Symoné is clearly visible, and he's been proudly showing off the new ink. That is so freaky that he got a tattoo of Raven-Symoné because she acts like she doesn't even know who he is, probably because of what he's gone through. But it's clear that this man has a drug issue and he's asking for help.
There are long-term effects when we do crystal meth and things that can really affect the neurotransmitters in our brain. And whenever we do certain drugs, it can connect half a thought with another half a thought, so it can get pretty confusing.
So Orlando has issues with crystal meth, and that's something he went on the Dr. Phil show to address. And maybe part of his drug use is the reason why he's sharing all these things about Hollywood, because he's either he just doesn't care, or he's either like making it up and he's delusional. But I don't know why he would just make up these things and these stories and tell all the press. The actor admits to drinking a lot, heavily medicating with marijuana, and taking crystal meth. Quote, just the influence and the demons that come with that kind of drug took over, he says. I don't know if it was the best idea for Orlando to go on to the Dr. Phil show, because on the show, Dr. Phil asked him a bunch of questions, and you can tell that Orlando is high. He speaks about his children frequently, but the things he says about his kids do not add up. Like, in 1 minute, he will share that he's super close with them, and then in the next minute, he says that he hasn't seen them in, years. So there are some inconsistencies here, which seems like he's currently on drugs, and he's confused about what's going on and his relationship with his own children.
That's what this whole thing is about. Being able to identify and, get back with my kids and stuff.
I'm not showing you this to make you feel bad about not being around your kids. I made the point that right now, you're an extremely intelligent guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but you're confused in your thinking? And as evidence that you're confused in your thinking, 30 minutes apart, you are confused about names and dates of children.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to put that together. That's what I'm supposed to be here for.
I came here today to offer you some help. I think it is in the form of a mental illness that can be dealt with very handily. I've offered you that, and you have rejected my offer, and I respect that. Respect your right to do that.
You're awesome.
And I think you're making a big mistake.
Maybe he didn't seek help back then when he saw Dr. Phil, but it sounds like he's going to be forced to seek help now if he pleads insanity. And there are a lot of things from his past that probably do not, well, actually, that probably do help his case when it comes to insanity. And I don't want to poke fun at him, because I do think that there is some basis to some of his claims, but he has been outrageous online. And maybe it's the drugs speaking, because at some point he claims that Nick Cannon sucked his wiener. Orlando posted on Instagram that Nick Cannon had done some things, sucked some D's, which is interesting because Nick Cannon has so many children that he's clearly into women, but he claims that he allowed Nick to do things to him. So he posted this on his Instagram page, and let's go ahead and react to the video together.
Okay, look, fine, okay? You want me to tell everybody? You want me to let everybody know what happened? Okay, fine. Nick, I let you suck my dick, okay? Fine, I said, I let Nick suck my dick. And I liked it. It was okay, fine. Nick, you sucked my dick. But everybody knows you did it as a female. But Nick, you sucked my dick. I didn't want to say that, Nick been sucking dick. Nick, you know you been sucking dick. You mush mouth motherfucker. You don't want me old while enough. Nick been sucking dick. Nick been, everybody in the world gonna be like, Nick been sucking dick.
That video is so cringe. And I noted he said Nick did it as a woman. So I wonder if it goes back to his belief that there are people who are their bodies are being I don't know, used by other people. I have no idea. But again, it reminds me of that movie Get Out. Nick Cannon did address the Orlando situation, and he said that he's praying for Orlando. He said he doesn't even know him personally. He's enjoyed his talent, but he doesn't quite understand what's going on here. And actually, he says, quote, "But this is another crucial example of when we allow our young artists to be prematurely exposed by this demonic business and left out to fend for themselves. We need better support systems for our youth and take care of our own," which I think is straight up facts. Like, clearly Orlando Brown is a child star who's gone through some things and he does not know how to handle it, and now he's just trying to survive. So there's a lot to take away from this video. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Orlando Brown is speaking facts? Do you think he's mentally ill? Do you think he has a drug issue? Like, what is going on here? Because there are some things he's saying that I'm like, like, wow, like, is someone finally exposing the evil and the elites? But also, you need to take a look at his record and his drug use and those things. And we need to consider it all because, I mean, is he being set up by people? Who really knows? But him like walking around the Target talking about Nick Cannon like sucking his D as a woman and all these things, it makes it harder for me to believe him. But I'm just here to show you guys everything and you make up your mind. Comment below and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye guys.